Alright guys, this is the first video you guys have seen in a while that is like sort of live. Either way though, we do have the Arizona Cardinals to go through. Of course, this is a team that has been pretty bad the past 2 years, but they made some moves this offseason. Obviously a big one was in the draft, but with all that said, let's go. Let's see how this team's roster is. Obviously, kind of the beating team of the NFC West. But with all that said, let's go. Arizona Cardinals 2024 roster grades. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to Deep NFL. Of course, please like and subscribe. We hope you guys enjoy the Arizona Cardinals 2024 roster grades. Of course, this is a team coming off back-to-back 4-win seasons, which obviously is not very good. But for most of that, they have not had their superstar quarterback, I guess. More like franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray. Kind of a hot topic there. But again, we'll start out with quarterback as always. Again, I just want to say, again, this is a team that has improved pretty immensely, even though they did lose their #1 pass rusher to, I think it was an ACL tear. It was something not good. Of course, that being P.J. Ojulari. Hope to him to a very speedy recovery. But with all that said, let's get right into quarterback. Of course, their starting quarterback will be, of course, Kyler Murray, who was their #1 pick back in 2019. The past 2 years, again, he tore his ACL in Week 14 of 2022 against the New England Patriots. He missed the first half of the 2023 season. Of course, the Cardinals suffered without only winning one game. And again, he played the second half of the season today, went 3-5 with him. He did do a pretty decent job overall. I mean, he wasn't doing anything fantastic, but typical Kyler Murray, to be honest. Again, he was a little bit slow, a little bit tentative sometimes, but yeah, still a normal Kyler Murray, to be honest. I actually think he probably played even better sometimes as well. But, of course, in this offense, he will be expected to, again, throw a lot of the balls at the outside of the field. Well, again, probably really a spread system. But I think this offense that he's in now fits him even better than the one that, again, he came into the league with in the air raid system. But Kyler, again, he's short, he's tiny, he's not going to be able to throw over the middle, which again is really his biggest flaw. Again, one of the most athletic players in the NFL overall, guys. Again, he's just electric with his feet. Of course, I made a whole entire video about it. But, yeah, Kyler's awesome. Desmond Ridder, again, he crashed out in Atlanta in his 1 year starting. I mean, I don't really know what you'd expect. Again, I don't think he was anything crazy coming out of Cincinnati. He really had no sort of touch on the football, which, again, in the NFL, you need to have to, again, layer the football over the field because otherwise you're just not going to be really versatile in any sort of way, and it's going to really hurt you overall, and that obviously was a big issue for him last year, as well as the fact that he just didn't read the field really well at all. I'm not going to say that he had the greatest offensive coordinator, but yeah, Desmond Ridder just... he was terrible last year, to be honest. Clayton Tune, I'm not going to completely defend him, but I mean, he started one game in 2022 in my last year, and it was kind of like I don't even know what to say, like the tweener game, because they traded Josh Dobbs to get a couple picks, and then Kyler wasn't exactly ready, so they had him play against the Browns. It was a complete mess. He got absolutely just, like, destroyed in that game. But either way, though, again, Kyler's the starter. I'm honestly going to give them a B. Kyler, I do think, is upside. He could be an A-tier quarterback at his best. But where he is right now, I can't give them... Honestly, you could argue it's a B+. He's borderline top 10, so you could say he's B+. But I don't even know. I'm going to give him a B because I'm not scared when, like, my Rams, they own Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is... He struggled against us, to be honest. Again, we didn't play him last year, but... no, we did in Week 12, what am I saying? Yeah, it was a bad team last year, but overall, again, you know what? I'm just going to give him a B+ to be nice. Now I got to give him a B. Kyler's just not... He's really good, obviously, but, like, he hasn't done enough just yet. Again, that's just my simple truth about it. He got the contract. He's a franchise quarterback, but I don't think he is anything crazy. Again, I'm going to give him a B. Obviously, B+ is fair, too. It's a B+ or a B, one of the two. I'm going to go with the B because, again, as a Rams fan, like, I'm not scared when we play him. No, I think it's 40, yeah. All right, now let's go to the running back position. And now at running back for the Cardinals, of course, their starter, who has been their starter ever since, 2021, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, he was at the Steelers in 2020, right? Yeah. Either way, though, honestly, I'm pretty fair to say this. James Conner was probably the most underrated running back outside of Kyren Williams in the entire NFL last year. He had a fantastic year overall. Again, he also missed 4 games. Again, just super underrated year overall. By far, career high in yards per carry at 5.0. He was very explosive as a runner. Yes, as a receiving back, maybe wasn't as dynamic as we're used to seeing career low in receiving yards. But when considering how they wanted, what is it called? John Gannick basically came in and said, we're gonna have a very good running game. And again, they were one of the best teams, if not the most efficient. I think they actually might have been the most efficient running in the entire NFL. James Conner was a big part of that. He's a really good back. Again, he's a little older now. What is he, 29? I get it, but I don't know about the same year he had last year, but I still think he'll be a very dependable back. And again, he's not top 10. I wouldn't say that, but he's still very underrated. And again, you got to appreciate what he does for this team. Maserati Marv, he was pretty explosive for this team last year. Very good vision. Yeah, whatever. Okay. But he was very explosive last year, and he had some pretty darn long runs. Again, out of TCU, he showed a lot of good stuff last year. Again, really what I want to see from him now is him be able to bounce off tackles a little bit better and also gain that extra yard. Because if he's able to do that, I really do think if he, again, able to take the next step, I really think he can give you a really good backup. But for now, he's a decent guy. Again, I don't think he has the same floor or even upside as Trey Benson, who again, I expect to come to full-time backup at some point. But again, out of Florida State, he was a pretty solid back for them. Again, there's nothing really special about him, but again, he's pretty solid vision overall. Also, again, has that explosion. And again, pretty much a bowling ball, if I'm going to be honest. It also is pretty elusive, what is called overall. But Trey Benson and Maserati Marv definitely fighting for that backup spot. They got a really deep room overall, though. Michael Connor, again, he really hasn't gotten back to, again, that, 2021 season, which was by far his best year. Last year, he had a pretty good game against the Steelers. Where is it? There, yeah. Only a 4 for 25, that doesn't seem like much, but he was really good in that game as a pass protector. Also, again, overall, just played really well. But outside of that, again, pretty deep backfield overall. I really like this group. I'll give them a B. Again, the reason I'm not giving him a B+ because James Conner, he's just not, like, a great back. Just, again, he's kind of like, he's going to run the ball down, like, again, between the tackles and do his job there. He can get outside the tackles, yes, but, again, really appreciated back. But, again, the depth, again, it's young and it's youthful, but I don't say it's anything crazy. You could argue to B+ here as well, but, again, I think B is right where they sit. Again, really solid group overall. That's 9, 18, and 24 points on, if I'm not mistaken. Now let's look at this wide receiver position. And this wide receiver group, of course, is led by the number 3 overall pick, that being Marvin Harrison Jr., who obviously is probably the best receiver coming out of college, at least in the past 10 years at least. He was, in my opinion, the best player of this entire draft, and of course, number 4, whatever. Marvin Harrison Jr. is an absolute monster. And I expect him, again, if he doesn't get injured, to at least have 1,000 receiving yards. I honestly think he can be a top 10 receiver. Like, honestly, by no means. I don't think he'll have actually a problem at getting there this year. I think he'll be fantastic for this team. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. But again, he has the DeAndre Hopkins type, skills when it comes to his hands and creating separation in that way. Which, again, is a very sustainable way to be a great receiver for a really long time. Again, Kyler Murray will love getting the football. But maybe if he can throw over the middle a little more, that would be huge for him, of course, to be Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson had a very promising rookie year, of course, at 38 catches, 565 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kind of at the rookie wall later in the season. He did have a big game to end the season, which was nice, but overall, again, had that really nice 2-touchdown game against the Niners. After that, again, he made a play in here and there. Again, pretty much a big body receiver, which this team absolutely needs. Really going to be good on those alert routes like Kyler Murray is by far the best in the NFL at throwing. As well as the back, of course, got Greg Dortch as well, who's a pretty crafty slot guy. Yeah, didn't have the greatest season last year, but again, he had a pretty productive 2022 season. For again, a reliable slot guy. You're not going to see him do anything crazy, but gets open pretty consistently and also again gets the ball really well. Zay Jones, again, they're bringing him over from the Jags. He had a decent year, I guess, last year. It was kind of frustrating. Yeah, he had 9 games, but he didn't play as great, of course, as he had a breakout 2022 season. But honestly, if he's just a guy who can get on the field, get open, get deep early a lot, that would be huge for this team. Chris Morgan, former Texan, former Titan, he's been a decent player in his career overall. Again, he kind of gets overshadowed a lot and then kind of like a random dude, but he's a pretty decent player. Zach Pascal really hasn't done anything since 2021, and then you got some other dudes who are here as well. Overall, a pretty solid receiving room. I'm not going to go anything crazy about it. I'll probably give them a C+. Again, Michael Wilson, again, I think has potential to be number 2, but right now, realistically, he's probably number 3. Marvin Harrison, again, he's sliding as the number 1, that's for sure. Greg Dortch and Zay Jones, I'm okay with them as, again, now strengthening in there. But again, if they didn't have Zay Jones, it would absolutely be a C receiving core. I might even give them that, to be honest. Yeah, I think I will. I think that may be no. They got a number 1. I think that's fair. Yeah, again, they don't really have a true number 2, and again, Marvin Harrison Jr. is really their only guy that I'm like he's gonna get consistently get open. But overall, again, it's a pretty solid receiving core. Again, it's not their deepest by any means, but they got 4 guys that can make plays. And when it comes down to it, that's really all you can ask. I mean, yeah, maybe a C would be a little bit more fair, but again, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is just gonna be awesome this year, so I'm gonna give them a C+. It's gonna come out to 18 points. Now let's look at tight end. And tight end for the Cardinals is a very interesting position, obviously, with Trey McBride, who is probably the most underrated tight end in the league, I'd say. Again, most people know who he is, so I guess he's not underrated. I don't know. He's got a lot of hype this offseason, and obviously for good reason. He was by far the biggest part of this offense last year, an 81 catch, 825. 3 touchdown breakout second season. Again, he also blocks, which is really nice. I'd like to see him get a little bit more action downfield because I know he has that capability a lot. Very good, though, over the middle. He's just a big-bodied guy that needs the football. Again, he's just a really good player, and obviously, again, the fact that he can block is a part of his game as well. I really like him as a backup. As a really good starter as well. Elijah Higgins, I mean, he's decent, I guess. He's got some pretty decent athleticism, but the problem with him is you just can't really have him run any sort of crossing routes because he just really doesn't have the awareness or really, again, the capability to run those type of routes, which is a little frustrating, but when it comes down to it, he does do a decent job blocking, and I guess he's an okay route runner outside of some of those crossers. Tip Ryman, of course, taking out Illinois. He did a good job. Again, he's really just a blocker, to be honest. I mean, he's what is he? 6'4", 273. But he does have some actually really nice athleticism to go along with that. But again, has absolutely no awareness as a route runner. And it's rough watching him try to catch the football as well. But as a blocking guy, he's going to be really good for this team. I would not be surprised if he's getting a lot of snaps this year. Just because, again, he's a very good run blocker. And you got 2 tight ends that are very capable in that aspect. This is huge. Again, really, Trey McBride is the guy who can make the plays. But again, he's a really good workhorse guy. I'll get this tight end from a B+. The reason it's not an A, I think, Trey McBride is probably, again, he's definitely a top 10 tight end for sure in the NFL. But just no one behind him. I don't think he is the utmost, again, mostly like downfield explosive tight end. Again, if he was that, it would be A. But again, if we see one more year of this, it's gonna be A. It's gonna be A tier for this tight end room. But I really like what we're gonna see from the Cardinals at that position. Now let's look at this offensive line. Final position on the offensive cover, of course, that is the group of the offensive line, which again, overall is going to be a pretty good group in my opinion this year. But yeah, there's a couple positions that have some question marks. First off, obviously, left tackle Paris Johnson Jr., who did fill in pretty admirably at right tackle, of course, with DJ Humphries finishing out his contract last year. Paris Johnson did a decent job overall. As a run blocker, I do think he set the edge pretty well overall. As pass blocker, then he had his growing pains. But against finesse rushers, really developed throughout the year, which again is a rare capability that you're used to not seeing out of rookie tackles. But again, overall, had a pretty solid rookie year. Kelvin Beachum, I mean, he's at 35 at this point. He's not really much of he's really just there to mentor guys. He does do a decent job still as a run blocker, though, which is nice to see. But again, never been a great pass blocker. And again, he's super old at this point as well. Decent depth, though. Evan Brown, I do think he's good. Didn't he play for the Seahawks? I think he's an average guy. He started a little bit to play backup again. He gets moved a little bit as a run back blocker because he's a little bit undersized. But as a pass blocker, he is pretty reliable, which is nice. But again, there are times where you're like, yeah, I wish I had a guy who was a little bigger, can move some guys, and he will get penetrated on pretty consistently, especially against those power and interior rushers. But does do a good job against those finesse guys. He's pretty agile himself. Isaiah Adams, I really like this guy as a depth piece again out of Illinois. He is a bona fide just go out there and move people. Because honestly, that's all he really can do. He has very solid hands, though. Again, it's really hard to just chop one way and go through him because again, he's really good. Again, when he gets into your grill, you're just not gonna do anything. But again, it's really him not being able to get into the chest. If he's not able to do that, probably can get around you, but you can get around him. But yeah, Isaiah Adams, I really like his depth piece for this offensive line. Elijah Furlot, bona fide, just gonna go again move people. Really good run blocker. He did a really good job with that last year. Some issues against pass blocker, but who cares? He's center. John Gates, decent backup. I mean, he played a little bit, but he's nothing crazy. Will Hernandez, solid right guard. There were times where he was pretty bad last year, but I mean, he's been reliable in his career overall. Tristan Colon, or I don't even know how to pronounce his name. He's there. That's really all I can say. He's okay, I guess. I'm not going to really bash him for anything because he isn't bad by any means. Jordan Williams, again, he was a bust at this point. Of course, number 11 overall from the Bengals. He's never exactly been bad in his career. Again, he had a pretty promising year before again. 2020, I think it was, before he got injured. But, yeah, Jonah Williams, he's a decent player. Again, I guess he's okay. Again, kind of torn away. Again, he just kind of got bumped out of the lineup for the Bengals. But now in the Cardinals, again, I guarantee he'll at least play decent this year. Elijah Wilkinson, solid backup. Overall, though, decent depth in this O-line. They're going to be able to block run really well. Just Evan Brown, I'm a little concerned about. Overall, if his offensive line, though, I'll probably give them a C, maybe a C+. I think I'll give them a C because none of these guys are exactly, really reliable overall. I mean, all these guys are solid run blockers, which is what this scheme's going to be. But for pass blocking wise, really Paris Johnson Jr. is the only guy I'm yeah, that guy can really stuff guys every play. But overall, again, pretty going to be a decent offensive line, but I don't think it's anything crazy. That's about the 6. 10 points thing for the O-line. Now let's see how that translates to this overall offensive grade. And doing the math, this Cardinals offense, we're going to get the sum of all this. That's going to come out to 110 points, which will put this offense in the B- tier. I'm going to put them in the C+ tier. Again, yes, this offense does have some really good parts to it. Again, it's just honestly, to be honest, let me say this honestly. This O-line, I don't think will be able to, they're just not a very good pass protecting unit. Yes, this team will be able to run the football well. Yes, these receivers will be able to benefit off that. Yes, Kyler Murray will be a big part of that as well. I think this offense will be decent, but again, going against some of these really good defenses, especially, again, there's going to be games where they won't be able to run the football. Not many of them, but there are going to be games where they won't be able to run the football. And is Kyler going to be able to throw the ball in those 3rd and long situations? I don't think so, really consistently. So I think that's going to be a big drawback for this offense. But overall, talent-wise, they're definitely a C+, even a B-, to be honest. But I'm going to put them in C+, because I think that's where they're going to sit this year. And I think that's honestly where they should be. Now let's get in this defense, starting with the linebacking core. Linebacker for the Cardinals is definitely a position that is a little bit conflicting. It's because, obviously, they don't really have a group that I think is exactly going to fit super well, but we'll see how it works out. Mack Wilson, again, former Brown, former Patriot. He's a solid pass cover guy overall. Again, you're going to see him a lot playing at a lot of those flat zones. He's a solid tackler overall, but what I see in this guy is he just isn't, consistently going to be able to make plays in the open field. That really holds him back. But in zone, he's very reliable, which again I think could be big for this football team. Again, he really hasn't started since his rookie year in 2019, but again, he's been reliable overall for in his career. Again, it's just really the tackling just not being very consistent. He's also not he's not the fastest linebacker either. So there are athletic limitations there as well. But again, he's not the best starter to have. But again, at the very least, he's going to be able to do some stuff. Owen Papo, played a little bit as a rookie. I don't really know what's so good about him. Again, I'm getting completely roasted in some those SEC games. Especially against like Missouri, Alabama even. He's just not very good in coverage. Again, he's a solid tackler, pretty solid run presence there. But that's really about it. So, not the best backup. Kaiser White, solid middle linebacker, very underrated. He does a lot of stuff very well. Again, coverage-wise, he's not the best, but that doesn't really mean anything because, he's pretty athletic and he's also very reliable as a tackler. One of the most consistent guys in the league. Kaiser White is a very solid middle linebacker. I'm not going to say he's, any crazy good, but he's good overall. Chris Barnes, again, former Packer. He played a good amount last year. Again, he wasn't very good in man coverage, and he's just, limitations in that way as well. His hip fluidity is pretty bad. Also doesn't read really well, and that's why he's a very instinctual player. But he does have some really good things going on for him. So again, as a backup middle linebacker, you're not going to really complain at all. Dennis Gardick, he was probably this defense's most impactful player last year. Kind of slowed after the first couple weeks. Again, he's got some decent pass rush type of stuff. I don't even know what they're trying to do with him. Kind of a Swiss Army knife overall. He's a pretty good player, but he plays hard. He has some good stuff going for him, but overall, just not the greatest sub guy overall. But solid player. Jesse Lucchetta, I'm be honest, I don't know who this dude is. So if someone could tell me, that would be nice. Marcus Bailey, wait, who the heck did he play for? Oh my gosh, how am I blanking on this? Oh yeah, the Bengals. Okay, backup. He'll get some playing time here and there. Pretty solid tackler. That's really about it. He gets absolutely just toasted in coverage too. Either way, the linebacking core, I'll probably give them a C-. Kaiser White's decent. I don't think Mack Wilson is a starting caliber guy. Dennis Gardick's pretty good. The depth is decent, I guess. I might be being a little harsh giving him a C-, but overall, again, really none of these guys can cover great. That's just the simple truth about it. So, Mack Wilson's decent, but none of these guys can play man. And the linebacker who can't cover it, it's really tough to win games, or at least be a dependable group overall. It's not the worst group in the league, but Kaiser White, again, Dennis Gardick, he's really not a linebacker. So, again, Swiss Army knife guy. I'll give him a C. I'll be nice. Either way, though, that's 9-15 points. Now let's look at the defensive line, not just the pass rush of this football team. In its defensive line, it's definitely an interesting group overall. I'm going to be honest. Again, Zaven Collins, really the reason he's playing edge is because he does have the instincts to become actually a pretty solid player here. Again, he was basically a sub type of guy. He played a lot of zone off the edge, but he did show some pretty solid things overall. Got some pressure. Again, they transferred him over on 2022 to an edge rusher. He really good athleticism. I think his speed rush is really developing really well. Again, it's just developing those secondary moves that will make him a solid player. I think Zaven Collins has a lot of potential. As of right now, again, he's not a great player, but he was probably this team's most consistent pass rusher last year. Xavier Thomas, I think he could be a solid depth piece for this Pass rush overall, again, he wasn't really great at all at Clemson, but I mean, he's got some good things going on for. Pretty athletic. Again, it's just, again, holding some of these skills. And also, again, playing to his strengths, which, again, are those power moves because he really doesn't have much of a finesse game overall. And also the fact, again, his scissor move, it's decent, but it can't be all he gets by with. On the other side, of course, you got Dante Stills. He was okay as a rookie. Again, made a lot of tackles on what is called off the middle, which was nice to see. But again, as a passer, just really wasn't efficient at all. And again, he just kind of didn't really have any sort of plan all the time. That's just not going to always work. But I think testing stuff out will work out a lot better. Darius Robinson, my guess is he'll be a starter at some point this year. Again, out of Missouri. Again, really good power rusher. Again, basically a 3-tech that can play all across the defensive line. He'll probably have to play a little bit more on the outside though. I'm in the 5-tech. A little bit of what is called 4-eye, which would be nice to see. But again, kind of that interior presence would be good to see there. Again, he's a solid passer. He's a really good run defender, though. And again, I think those two combinations will work out really well for him as a rookie. We'll see what he can do, though. Cam Thomas, not going to get used with the bad player for the Nats. Holy crap, he's bad. Either way, though, had a pretty solid rookie season last year. Wasn't as good in a lot more snaps. Just the pass rush was not even the same, we saw as a rookie. But I think he could still be a decent player. We'll see, though. Overall, pretty deep pass rush group overall, but they really don't even have a number 2, to be honest. Like, when David Collins, your best pass rush, not good. Yeah, they did lose B.G. Ojolari, who, again, was probably going to be their number 1, to be honest. Yeah, he was going to be their number 1. Of course, tore his ACL, which is really unfortunate. Again, was it his ACL? I think it was his ACL. Either way, though, again, hope for his recovery. It really sucks they lost him. In the interior, Bilal Nichols is just a run defender. He does do a good job, though, and that's really all you can ask. And he's been in the league for a pretty decent bit, and he has been, again, a good run defender for his whole career. Not going to ask him to do anything as fast rushy, though. Justin Jones, though, he can get after quarterback a little bit more, a lot more capable in that aspect. But I think he's very underrated. I wouldn't think he's anything crazy, though, because he does sacrifice some stuff as a run defender. You can move him pretty easily. But solid player. Curtis Tunga, didn't he play for like the Vikings and stuff? I don't even know. He's just a body up the middle, to be honest. I wouldn't exactly want him to start, though, because he really struggles to get off blocks. And again, as an interior guy, you can't really have that be an issue. Roy Lopez, former Texan, he's just, again, a guy who's going to take up space. Overall, for this defensive line, I'll probably give them a D. It's not good. It just really isn't. Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, there's worse starters. Justin Jones is a good player. Bilal Nichols is average. The edge rushing group is just a complete mess, though. And that's why I'll have to give the pass rush a D just as well. I might get, the defensive line, I'll give a D+, because I think they'll be able to stop the run. But pass rush-wise, it's going to be a struggle this year. They're going to have to run a lot of good, schematically, they're going to have to run a lot of what is called stunts and also picks to get these pass rushers into open space, because if that doesn't happen, they will struggle to win one-on-one. I'm just telling you right now. Rushing with 4 will not be a reality for this team this year. I'm just going to say it right now. But 6 points for the defensive line. Again, a little better as run defense, but they're still not great. D, that's going to come out to 8 points, which, again, it's just not very good. I'm sorry. Either way, is this second, is this cornerback group, and overall the secondary is good enough to support this. Probably going to be pretty weak pass rush. Either way, though, let's look at the cornerbacks. And the cornerback group for the Cardinals is upgraded from last year for sure. Sean Murphy-Bunting, solid number 1 corner. I don't think he's the best player in the league. His man coverage, it's never really been great. But as a zone guy, he's very reliable. Also, again, very good at making plays in the open field. Yeah, he wasn't as, again, a big of a playmaker, in my opinion, last year. But he made a lot more tackles, which is good to see. Very good presence in that aspect. But, again, did a good job there for the Titans last year. Again, he's a solid number 1. I'm not going to say he's anything better than that. You could argue, again, he'd be a really good number 2. But as a number 1, you could get by with him for sure. Max Mellon on the right side, I think, will be very fun to see. Again, they picked him at Rutgers in the 2nd round for sure. Again, the biggest thing again I have against Max Mellon is he just doesn't really travel with receivers the best either. Again, just doesn't really stick with guys, which honestly is okay with his play style overall. Again, very physical at the line, which is nice to see. But Max Mellon, again, I really like to see him develop a little bit more in zone as well. But I think he'll be decent on the outside. He's going to get burned here and there, but I think you can take it with some of the other plays you're going to get out of him. Garrett Williams, honestly, I think I could argue he was the best. He only played 9 games last year. He was injured for the second half of the season. But he did do a good job in the games he played. Again, I like a lot of the stuff I saw. Very instinctive. But, again, it's really him being a little bit more proactive, especially, again, in the way he sets. Because, again, if he's better there, he's going to have a lot more success and, again, just play better overall. Elijah Jones, okay, I guess. He was Boston College by far best player overall last year. Very athletic, but just doesn't really have, again, I think, the natural instincts just yet. Again, I absolutely think, again, he could definitely develop some of that type of stuff. But right now, I don't think, again, he's going to be the guy who can go out there and just react, like, off the dime. Because he's going to get burned either way. But we'll see what happens. Starling Thomas, the 5th, he played a good bit last year, and he was bad. That's the best way I can put it. But he's pretty good downfield, but he just wasn't great last year. He did make some good plays with it, which was nice, though. I don't know who this dude is. I'm being completely honest. Who is this dude? Either way, though, this quarterback room, there's good, there's some bad. I'll probably give him a C-. I mean, Garrett Williams, you want a better slot corner, to be honest. Again, I think he'll be decent, though. But the depth, it's not very good. The truth there. It's just not great. They did draft the guy, again, what is called Elijah Jones, which was nice. But they got a pretty solid number 1, I guess. Sean Murphy, once again, you could probably call him that. Max Mellon, we'll see what he can be able to do. I don't love this cornerback room. It's not terrible, I guess, but you could do a lot better than what they got going on there. 8 points. Now let's look at the safety position. It's safety for the Cardinals is obviously a very strong position overall. Again, you got a guy named Jalen Thompson who's been starting since his rookie year back in 2019. He has never been a really fantastic guy in coverage overall. He's just not very, and he's never been like the most consistent in zone. But as a man type of safety, he's been pretty good. His rating is going to be really high because he does get targeted a pretty decent amount. I'm not going to say a crap ton because it's not like he's a slot playing against these really good receivers all the time. But he's a really solid safety. Again, his tackling is a little bit off the chart, a little bit bad sometimes, but really solid run supporter. And again, really works well with Budda Baker, who again, I'm not going to call an all-world safety because he just really wasn't that last year in 12 games. Again, I thought he was going to get traded. Didn't really look like he wanted to be there. But the last couple of games, he really stepped it up. Again, had a really good 2022 season, though. Budda Baker's still one of the better safeties in the entire NFL, but I wouldn't say he's, again, anything. He's not, it's kind of tough because he wasn't great last year. Dadrian Taylor Demerson, I don't know what to think about him because he was toasting that Texas Tech defense. Like, I don't even know what the hell they were doing last year, though. It was a pretty big mess. But I think he could be decent. He's got a lot of talent for sure. Again, really good at reading the middle of the field, which again is going to be a big part of this defense overall. I think he'd be a good what is called dime look guy, but we'll see what they do with him. Andre Chatcher, I don't care. I'll be honest, I really don't care about him. But who knows? He could be decent. Either way, though, depth in the safety room is just, it's not great. Starters, though, are pretty solid. I'll give them a B at safety. I guess, I don't know, 9, 18, and 24. It's pretty cut and dry, that position. Now, all right, doing the math for this defense, that would be 15 plus 6, 6 plus 8 plus 8 plus 24. That's going to give them, 61 points. That will probably land them in the F tier. No, never mind. That'll land them in the D tier, which honestly I think is where this defense sits. Their pass rush is going to be bad this year. They're not going to get much pressure. I'm just going to tell you this right now. And that's going to put a lot of stress on their corners, which are young, and they got one guy who's a veteran and then a bunch of young guys who aren't exactly the greatest. So, that will be an issue in my opinion at times this year. The safeties, they're going to have to be really good over the top. If they're not, big plays will happen a lot. So, again, this defense, they got a really big uphill battle. But, again, I think they will be able to get, they'll be decent sometimes. But it's going to be a tough year with this defense, in my opinion, overall, just because, again, the talent just really isn't there. That is all I got for the Cardinals defense. Let's get into the special teams unit, the depth of this football team, and obviously, what is the identity of the 2024 Arizona Cardinals? Special teams time for the Cardinals. Of course, Matt Prater, you can thank for the Cardinals getting Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know what the heck that is. Field goal wise, I don't know what this means. 20 out of 84%. He's never been, again, like the most accurate kicker ever, but he's really good long distance and probably the biggest leg in the NFL. Outside maybe Justin Tucker. Yeah, he's a really good kicker. Blake Gillikin, I don't know what was up last year with the, what is it called? The Saints. But he played last year with the Cardinals, and he's a decent punter, I guess. I don't know, bro. He does his job. DJ Dallas, decent returner. He'll get a pretty good average. And Aaron Brewer's a good long snapper. I just heard that. Cardinals special teams unit is usually pretty solid. I'm not gonna say they're anything crazy, but I'll give them a B. Yeah, pretty good. 3, 6, and 8 points. All right, depth. Quarterback depth, I will give a B+. I'll give it a B. It's not terrible. B. Running back depth, C+. It's decent. Wide receiver depth, C-. I'll probably give him a D+. It's not great. Right now we're probably at a C. I'll be honest. Tight end depth, C-. We're probably at C- at this point. O-line depth, C+. Probably land at a C for this offense. Linebacker depth, probably C-. D-line depth, there's something C-. Probably C- overall so far. Pass rush depth, I don't even know. There's just no pass rush, so like I don't know, freaking D. Quarterback depth, F. It's bad. There's nothing. It's again shrubs. I don't know. Safety depth, probably a D+. I'm gonna say they get a C- for this team's depth. There's some positions with some depth, but when it comes down to this defense, it's just not very good. I'm just telling you the truth right now. I know. Offensively, there's some answers, but it's a pretty thin roster overall. But again, one of their starting receivers gets hurt, it's going to be an issue. Again, they do have a fourth guy again, and probably Zay Jones or Greg George, which is nice. But outside of that position, I'm like, it's a little shaky here and there. Either way, though, Kelvin Beachum is a good depth at tackle too. That's what it's called, 16 points, and then identity. Offensively, we already know what it's going to be. It's going to be Kyler Murray throwing to the outside part of the field and them running the crap out of the ball, which honestly is a good thing. But Kyler's better over the middle on those shorter RPO routes, and that will be massive because that will open up the middle of the field, and they can do that. Kyler can run the ball. They just open up the entire offense. The potential for this offense is a lot higher than a C+, in my opinion, honestly. It could be even better than that, but it's going to take a lot for that to happen, though. Defensively, I don't freaking know. The secondary plays well. Max Moen has a fantastic rookie year. Sean Murphy-Bunting has a career year, and the safeties do what they usually do, I guess. And the front seven doesn't give huge holes against the run because they're not going to get really much pressure, and we can be honest there. So, defensively, they know it's going to be an uphill battle. It's just, again, just not making it easier by giving up big plays. If this defense doesn't give up big plays, the offense, again, really runs the way I think it has potential to be able to. This team could win some games this year, but identity-wise, I'll probably give them a C+, and a lot needs to happen. I do think John McGinn is the coach to help that really work out, though. That'll come up to 30 points. Let's see how the overall roster grade works out with that. All right, overall roster grade time. We have 30 plus 16 plus 8 plus 61 plus 110. That's 110. 225 points will be the overall roster grade point average. But when we look at the range, 225 will put this team in the C-. I think that's fair for this roster. This team's roster isn't... What the hell? There we go. Isn't awful, but the Cardinals just, honestly, again, I just don't think defensively it's going to be an issue. Yes, you could argue it's D+, but the roster is definitely better than last year, and that they had probably the worst roster in the NFL, I think, last year when they did the grades. But they're better this year, which is good. You're going to get a C- Cardinals. Again, I think that's good. Cardinals fans, comment down below if you agree with the C- overall roster grade. But that's all I got for the Arizona Cardinals here. Preview, I guess, for their 2024 season. And yeah, see you for, years ahead of the next team. But yeah, we got 8 more teams to go after the Cardinals.
All right, here we go, Tony. 15 seconds. Throw. He got it for the touchdown. Right between 2 New England defenders. There's a flag in the middle of the field at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, that's got to be holding. They're not throwing that flag way back there unless it's holding on the defense.
They were both touchdowns. This is the 3rd straight week they strike for the end zone in the closing seconds of the first half.
I mean, the eye discipline.